Live right here on the early line on this Monday morning. Welcome you to hour number 2, our opening day of this new week. Live right here all across the SportsGrid network. He is Donnie right side. I am Ben Stevens. A Monday around the sports landscape. It is National Championship Monday in Phoenix for the men's 2024 NCAA tournament. 1 versus 1. Yukon and Purdue, the best matchup we could ask for with a national title at stake in just over 12 hours out in the desert. We will preview the game in its entirety in this second hour. We also go around the association. PRS, less than 1 week remains now in the NBA regular season. Exactly 1 week from yesterday. That would be this upcoming Sunday. That's the final day of the regular season action in the association.
Teams rising, teams falling, jockeying for playoff positioning. This is what's great. They added a couple more teams here in that play-in round, and we're seeing the fruits of that labor here, where it's really exciting down the stretch, and some very good basketball teams look like they're going to wind up in that play-in round, which is great for TV, great for the antics, and great for the playoffs overall. I'm looking forward to these final sprint here. Before you know it, we're right into the playoffs, which was an awesome run all the way through May and June. It's a great time.
Important to know where the standings are right now, not just for who's going to make the postseason. Those 10 teams feel pretty set, but the seed lines of where they will be by the time the postseason starts with the play-in tournament in each conference and, of course, the overall playoffs from that point on. A lot to get to here in this second hour. Let's make sure the SportsGrid radio audience is here for it all. Sirius XM Channel 159, all of our radio terrestrial affiliates now in the fold as well. He is Donnie right side. I am Ben Stevens. So, DRS, so much on this Monday. A national championship game. John Calipari leaves Kentucky for Arkansas. There will be a solar eclipse, and there's just 6 days left of this NBA regular season. So let's look back on the final week beginning yesterday on a Sunday. What is happening to the Milwaukee Bucks? They've lost 4 straight games, 6 of their last 7. All 6 losses, they have been booked as a favorite. Yesterday, only a 4.5-point home favorite against the Knicks. That's great. New York wins by digits as an underdog outright. But the 3 previous losses before yesterday inside the Pfizer Forum came as a double-digit favorite. All of them. What is wrong with Milwaukee?
I don't know. It certainly points to Doc Rivers as what's wrong with Milwaukee, because you had Giannis, you had Middleton, you had Lillard in the lineup yesterday, and you got smoked at home by the New York Knicks. And you might say, well, look, the Knicks are actually getting some starters back. OG Anunoby played 38 minutes. Yeah, he scored 4 points, and you still got dusted because guys like Brunson continue to have monster basketball games, and Dante DiVincenzo, affectionately known as Tay-Tay, drops 8 3-point shots in your own building. And quite frankly, this was a close game into the fourth quarter where the Knicks on the road beat you down 33-24 in that final quarter to come away with the victory. You're supposed to be playing your best basketball by the time the playoffs come. The Milwaukee Bucks are playing their worst basketball right now by the time the playoffs come here. And also, we thought this was going to be a solidified number 2 seed and just cruising into the playoffs. Who knows where the Bucks
for
wind
sure
up now?
That's a great point, DRS. Again, a 15-game differential between Boston, who wrapped up the number 1 seed and the best record in the NBA during the regular season just about a week ago. But we thought Milwaukee was just right behind them. They'd be the 2 seed. We'd figure out 3 through 6, yada, 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 in the Eastern Conference. Because of this 4-game skid and losers of 6 of their last 11, Milwaukee now only a game lead over both Orlando and New York. And Tay-Tay is balling. 8 made field goals, all from deep. 14 shots, 11 attempted from 3. Tay-Tay. Dante DiVincenzo, a big spot yesterday, but none bigger than Jalen Brunson. 43 points, 8 dimes, 6 rebounds yesterday to lead all scorers in Milwaukee. The Bucks have to figure it out fast. Now we go to a game in Los Angeles earlier on a Sunday. The Clippers were down by 26 to Cleveland early on. The Clippers respond. Paul George hits the game-winning shot with just 7 ticks remaining in that fourth quarter as LA wins 120-118. Now, Cleveland does cover as a 4-point road underdog. Total of 217 and a hook does sky way over. But a big victory for the Clips to solidify that 4th seed in the Western Conference. And now Cleveland, who has dropped 3 straight games, falls all the way to the 5 spot in the Eastern Conference. It's mayhem outside of the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference standings.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. Usually you get this in like an NFL-type landscape because you're only playing 17 games and teams have the, chance to be jumbled up. In an 82-game schedule, you should be more laid out than this. Like, okay, a couple games left, all the seedings are set except for maybe one or two. That's not the case in both conferences. That is a big victory for the Clippers here. They sit a 2-game lead over the Dallas Mavericks, which means if they can solidify and clinch this, you can give your starters, your veteran starters, extra time to rest before start that playoff hunt. But taking a look at Cleveland, who we thought might have had a really good chance here to battle for a top seed, not the number 1 overall seed, but at least maybe the number 2 seed, falling back just a little bit. Because if they were playing their best basketball, they probably would have already overtaken the Milwaukee Bucks. But as you said, now find themselves in the 5th seed with a chance to maybe drop out into the play-in round altogether. I love how this is matching up. A good win for the Clippers. Tough loss there for the Cleveland Cavaliers, no doubt.
Cleveland has dropped 8 of its last 11 games, now just a 2-game lead over Philadelphia, and Cleveland's in the 5 spot, Indiana in the 6, and the Sixers in 7. Cleveland a half game behind the New York Knicks and the Orlando Magic at this moment as well. DRS, Boston's got to be watching everything in the Eastern Conference going, okay, cool, because they're minus 140 to win the East. Milwaukee still somehow, some way is plus 320 to win the Eastern Conference. And Philly has the 3rd best price at plus 950. I understand the postseason, the playoffs, completely different than the regular season, even in the most heightened atmospheres in a 7-game series. But it certainly looks like Boston and then everybody else, and there's a pretty big gap in between. Now to the Western Conference. Big victory for the New Orleans Pelicans yesterday to snap a 4-game skid. And they do so on the road in Phoenix, winning outright 113-105 as a 5.5-point dog. The Suns entered winners of 7 of their last 9, covering in all 7. New Orleans bucks their own skid and that winning trend for Phoenix.
Yeah, by the way, shout out McCollum, 31 points, and then Zion Williamson with 29. But again, Ben, just reading those box scores, if I would have told you before this game, Durant's going to drop 23, Booker's got 25, and Beal's got 33 points, that should be an easy runaway victory for the Suns. Because what, quite frankly, it's been is Booker dominating, Durant in, and then Beal giving you like 10 points. He gave you 33 and you lost. Look, the Phoenix Suns are going to be one of those teams that's an anomaly to me in the playoffs. I'm going to hate them one day and love them the next. This is just another microcosm of what I've been talking about with the Suns, as trying to trust them. But having said that, moving over to the Pelicans, had a tough loss, I believe it was on Friday night, but coming back with a big victory over the Suns on the road, that shows something here. Boy, I mean, we are flipping coins heading into the playoffs with some of these basketball teams, Ben.
It could have been a huge game for Phoenix. And another prove-it spot for the Suns. They lose against the Pelicans. They both now have the same record, battling for that 6th spot in the West.